you wanna get rich. It's population. We robbing underdog and prize picks. We the best in this biz. You ain't telling us shit. It's population. We love making money quick, fast. Cooking up a team card. The whole crew about to smash. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash. The dopest team you ever seen. Winning money, stacking G's. Boogie setting traps, but they'll never catch me. Some people get addicted like raps to the cheese, but I got one obligation to bring Johnny to his knees. Holding back the props till the morning he knows. They'll be fishing in the shack, plotting nukes with the pros. Only with Craw, never reload. Underrated them out, amigos. We go with honest, we seeking the bloods. We know when I fucking cheat code. Party that I'm sweating, they can't be good for my health. Some may call it making bets, I call it investing in myself. I'm picking props like stocks, population for the win. Got my sips in by the buzzer now, let the games begin. It's population. It's population. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash.
What is up, crew? We are back and better than ever. It's Tuesday, November 15th, and we got a normal, somewhat NBA schedule this week. Last week was crazy. We had, every team play on Monday. We had election day the next day, so time off, and then another big slate. And I was sick all week, man, sick as a dog. So I really missed doing these streams with Eric, and I'm glad to be back. And yeah, so how you doing, Eric?
Doing good, man. And definitely glad to hear that you're feeling better. I know I had the crud the week before that. You know, this cold's coming, man. It's right around the corner, and I know here it's going to snow today, so I'm excited. Well, excited for basketball, not excited to be stuck inside.
Yeah, and my internet must be sick too, because it's acting up right now, man, for no reason. Yeah, I hope the connection gets back here in a second. I'm seeing low ping on StreamYard at least. I don't know if it's like their website, if like a lot of users at a given moment, but yeah, hopefully it comes back here. Yeah, today, I mean, we have 5 games, and yesterday it was a nice, what was it, 6 or 7, but the games just were pretty ugly matchups. Today's, I think, a little bit better. And we got Taco Tuesday, and I think we got a couple of favorable tacos. The first one that's still on the board is Paul George at 19.5 points. Pretty good discount from his 24.5. And then I think the second one was already decided, correct? It was at KD.
I actually have not looked at that. I'll take a look at it real quick.
I think we're on the street. Last I heard, it was KD that won the vote or was way in the lead. But yeah, I think it's down to from 30.5 to maybe 26.5 or 25.5. We'll see once you look that up. But yeah, we'll let people trickle in, and we'll answer any questions you guys have. Please, chat, keep us updated. I won't be following the news as we're breaking down these games. And we're trying to get this done in a timely fashion, but let us know on the Zion news if we get it, and any other major injury news, because we should get that Zion news first, since it's the first game on the slate. Did you find it, Eric?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be KD's points from 30.5 to 25.5.
Okay. You know, that one, I don't know how you feel. That one I feel a little less confident on compared to Paul George, just because KD we've seen can just sit back, and if they trap him, he'll just dish it around. Like in that Lakers game, you just let everyone else do the work around him. But it's KD, so that's all they have really scoring wise. Yeah, we'll get to that though. That is that the what is that game?
Well, at least
Late Night Hammer, yeah.
Yeah, and the taco, this one expires in an hour and a half, so his will be up after that.
Okay.
And just for reference, the taco from last night, the Valorant one, that one did hit.
Oh, cool. So that was the very first taco. So we're gonna have all our tacos now
Yeah.
after Katie. Okay. All right, that's good now. All right, yeah. So let's start right away with the first game. Like I said, chat. Let us know in any injury news because it's that time of the year. Guys are gonna be late rule outs because of illness and sick.
It's
So
back to backs.
back to backs, yeah. So let's keep our eyes and ears open. Yeah, first game on the docket. We get a 30-minute little buffer here. It's at 7:30 instead of 7, and that's Memphis at New Orleans. It's a healthy game lines here. We have a 3.5 point spread in favor of New Orleans, the home team, and it's almost a 230 implied total. So setting up really nice, and also we got some key people out on potentially both sides. So Memphis, Bain is out. I think last I saw he's gonna be out for extended time for 2 to 3 weeks. So that's gonna be a hard of a void to fill for Memphis. We've seen them in the past; they can buckle down on defense and hold their own without Ja. But I feel like without Bain, that's a huge loss because that's so much shot volume, 3-point shooting, just gone now that they really rely on. And they've made it an emphasis this year that they wanted to take more threes, and Bain is a big part of that. So yeah, we're gonna have to kind of navigate through their team and what we expect with him being out now, and especially in this matchup. And then the other side, like I said, Zion is questionable with that lingering foot issue that he's always dealt with. I don't know if it's the same foot, but if it's just his other foot. But yeah, he has another foot ankle issue. So I think he's a true game time decision. So we might not get it till 45 minutes before the game tip off. But it would be nice if we get it earlier because then it would open props up. I believe Underdog has props available for the Pelicans, which is kind of surprising. They have CJ and Brandon Ingram on the board, but I don't believe that they are available on Price Picks yet. So we could peep over at Underdog and try to predict what they're going to be on both sites. But yeah, let's start with Memphis. I think a key stat here is that Jaws fantasy production goes way up with Bane off. Bane has been accounting for a lot of assists, rebounding, and obviously his 3-point shooting and his scoring. I think as I saw over the last year to 2 years, when Bane is off the court, Jaws fantasy point per minute goes up to like 1.5 FanDuel points per minute. He's going to do it all, obviously, more so with Bane out. A lot of props that you could jump on with him. Is there any that stood out to you right away? And are you going to spread your exposure, or do you have one particular prop for him that you really like, or are you going to kind of take it easy with him because he's so juiced?
I definitely want some exposure. I think honestly, I'll probably have good correlations, but fairly even exposure to just a couple of different props that I like for him today. His fantasy is a little juice, but as you mentioned, he's over a point per minute player here. And assuming this game's going to stay at least semi-competitive, he should see a fairly deep run, and he's going to have to lead. Honestly, both units here. 1 second.
Are you good?
Like
Yeah,
everybody's.
it's a 3-point spread, so Vegas thinks it's going to stay close to the end.
Yeah, and his historic matchup here has been just ceiling level production. He's really aggressive. Some of that also is correlated with either Bane or Brooks has been off in some of these previous games too. But here we are back in that same situation with them and these nagging injuries. So I like the fantasy. I think some combination of rebound. I want to say rebounds, man. He is just smashing the glass so much right now. And even though last game, sportsbooks, they didn't like the odds for it. I think he was like plus 109. Today, I think he was like plus 110 or 114 or something like that. And he's just being super aggressive. He's hungry right now. And at 5, that kind of feels like a good number. How do you feel about that?
Oh, with I mean with Ja, yeah. I mean rebounding, assists, all of it's lie with him because like you say, he's gonna try to do it all. The only pullback I have is, and I actually I did look up at this stat recently, not today, but I need to double check it today. Um, Traditionally, when you look at guards, especially point guard, you want to see if the other team's taking a lot of threes, because just like nature of the long rebound, because where they're going to be on the court defensively when the shot goes up. Um, but Pelicans still remain last in 3-point attempt. They're taking the least amount of threes, but last I looked, majority of Ja's rebounds are actually within 10 feet of the basket. They're not long rebounds. So, with that said, I think I think it is live, and I don't worry so much about the Pelicans not taking that many threes. So it is a low number for him. He usually sits around at least 5.5, if not up to 6.5.
Yeah. So that is definitely, I think, one option for us, but let me go back to it. Additionally, with him, you could probably even throw some kind of combination for his rebounds, assist, or just he's going to be shooting a lot. So pick one of either his assists or rebounds that you have a better gut call on today, and just go for that, like his PR or his PA.
Yeah, it's tricky navigating with him. He's a lot like, not game style or the way he plays, but in the sense of like prop betting, like Luca at times when you're trying to choose between, is it assist night or rebound night or scoring. But I think I'm with you on the rebounds being pretty low at 5, and if it stays competitive um to the end, and he's the amount of minutes he's gonna play, and Bane was accounting for a lot of rebounds too. It depends on the unit they run too, because one thing I forgot to mention is Jaren Jackson is making his season debut. He's been out with that major injury. Um, do they do they ease him back off the bench? We need news on that, or do they just throw him right into the starting lineup and he just plays limited minutes, like 25 to 28 minutes? Um, I think if he starts and he plays that limited run, I think that's a boost to Ja's assist potential, because Jaren Jackson has really improved his 3-point shooting over the last couple seasons. You definitely saw it in that playoff run that they had in both the Warriors and the Timberwolves series. He was draining threes, so I think that's a boost to Ja's assist potential. It could even be a boost to Ja's rebound potential, because Jaren likes to stay on the 3-point line, take threes, and he's just not traditionally known for his rebounding as much, I would feel like, as Santi and others who would check in the front court. So like Brandon Clark. Yeah, let's look out for the starting lineup, because if he has Concher and Jaren Jackson out there in the court with him for a lot of run, that's a big boost for Ja's assist potential, because Concher is a 3-point sharpshooter. I think he's shooting around 45% from 3 this season, while Santi is shooting around less than 25%. But Jaren, he obviously is a much better 3-point shooter than Santi. So having Concher and Santi, or and Triple J out there with them, would definitely be his boost to his assists. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to just do the RA, I get it, because of everything we just went over, a boost with Bane being out to both those, because yeah, Bane he was racking up the assist this season, and Tyus Jones has kind of been on the back burner. They haven't used him at all, really. They used him last game because both Ja and Bane were out, but he just seems to be an afterthought with this current unit. So, any other Memphis leans that you had?
Yeah, a little bit here. I think if you don't want to play Jaw tonight, Steven Adams is definitely in consideration. Small revenge narrative
Yep.
here, playing
Yep.
against his home team. And if you look at last year, his home road splits were kind of weird, mostly just because in this series in general, I think Memphis either swept them or they won like 3 out of 4. But a lot of the games were not really competitive. They had kind of a blowout, and I believe 2 out of the 4 of them. But in the two that they did play in New Orleans, they were fairly competitive. And Steven Adams absolutely destroyed, had a double-double both games. I think he had 2+ stocks in each of the games, and just, crazy, crazy stats for him. So with Bain being out, and, you know, kind of uncertainty with Triple J if he's going to start or come off the bench,
Right.
I think he should come off the bench, just because this is not going to be an easy matchup, like, by any means. That front court on the other side is pretty nasty. So maybe they go with the second unit so he could have a little bit more ball handling and a softer matchup there.
Sure.
But Steven Adams, man, he's that first half prop. I know it's been some people's bane, but today I think would be a good spot to go back to it, or even just his full game. Probably full game fantasy, because they take a lot of shots, as you mentioned, not beyond the arc. So he could have a lot of stock potential here, and
Right.
this would be a
Right.
game to get up for.
Yeah, that's a great point about the stock potential for sure. Now obviously if Zion is out, then there's gonna be a little bit less field goals within 10 feet of the basket in that close range that Zion lives off of, but still they don't shoot that many threes even with Zion off the court. Um, I think his Adams' assist potential goes way up with Bane out too, because he'll just be in the high post and running the pick and roll jaw, and then when he gets offensive rebounds, he kicks it out. So those assists will add up. If he gets 3 or 4, that's 1.5 per assist. So makes total sense for his fantasy, because you probably want all the stuff that he'll be needed for today.
Yeah, and great point about his assist potentials going up. I forgot to mention that. Uh, just a good spot. I wouldn't say go crazy on this game by any means, because these two teams, like I said, the history would say that this may blow out, but a reasonable total and a healthy pace is a good game script.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Well, yeah, when we'll see on Zion. I think if Zion plays, I think it has a good chance of being like a really good game battle. Pelicans have been struggling lately, especially defensively, which has been really surprising. They just they haven't been what I thought they would be. It is early in the season, so they just need to gel over time, and teams will change and morph into something different by the playoffs. But yeah, I thought the front court would be much more stout defensively. I thought Herb would be more shut down on the perimeter, but teams are still putting up points on them. So they've definitely been struggling in the last handful of games. But yeah, at least they're back at home. That's a boost, and maybe it's a turning point for some players like Brandon Ingram, who's been struggling lately too. So let's just dive into them, unless you have any other Memphis props that you're interested in. I mean, only other one is Dylan Brooks. So
Yeah, if you think Dylan Brooks is going to get hot here, just go back to his points. He had all the opportunity in the world last game, and just let us down there.
yeah, what did he finish with? I mean, all right.
19, yeah.
What was his point prop? 20.5 or something?
21.5, yeah.
21.5. Yeah, because both reminder, both in that game against the Wizards, which Memphis lost, and they put up like 91 points or something like that. Brooks, yeah, he didn't even clear his assist prop with both Bane and Jaw out. But again, Tyus Jones slid into the starting point guard role. You see, finished with 2 assists here.
And Tyus really, it wasn't until much later in the game where his assists started coming through, because I think he only had like 1 assist, maybe 2 assist tops going into half, and then just right in the fourth quarter, that when Brooks and him started clicking a little bit more.
Okay.
But and I will bring that up as kind of another point to Tyus. I actually had him on the list, and something was just like, no, I don't feel good about it today. Let me wait and see this one game, and thankfully didn't, because he definitely let me down there.
Do you remember how many threes Dylan took that game?
It was either 8 or 9. It was almost double digit.
Okay. Well, I know Bane is out, and his shot volume should remain high, but Jaw's gonna eat up a ton. Jaw's probably gonna take 20, close to 25 shots. If you're feeling lucky, I don't know. This guy is not a good shooter. historically. So if you want to go under 2.5 threes, I would not mind it, but it would be a sweat because just due to pure volume. Okay. Yeah, well, let's move on to the other side. We were talking on the Pelicans. Anything stand out to you right away? We don't have them on
Yeah.
Price Pick, but let's talk here on Underdog. If under the assumption that Zion plays or does not play, sorry.
Oh, did I lose you? Are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. So if Zion's out, I think, did we get an RA for CJ or no?
We did not. Oh, we did. We did 10.5. That's not bad. That's
Yeah, that's not bad actually. Yeah, small interest in that rebound because his rebound rate definitely goes up.
And Memphis taking so many threes. Even with Bane out, I think they're gonna take a lot of threes with Jaren Jackson and Concher, and Brooks.
Yeah, definitely. So the rebound definitely going to be in play, and not that Zion really eats into the assist rating, but he just has these kind of spike assist games.
Yeah.
That would definitely boost that rebound and assist prop there. I just can't trust CJ's points or his scoring because
No.
he will absolutely ghost and
Yep.
take 5 shot attempts the entire night.
Yeah, I mean, look, they got his 3-point all the way down to 2. It's the lowest I've ever seen it. So
Wow.
and Brandon Ingram, man, he's in a major slump. So for relative to for his production, this would be a bounce back spot, especially if Zion's out. I imagine the points would go up maybe a little bit after that news, but I'm assuming Underdog put these two on here under the assumption that Zion's out, kind of in that mid range if he's in or out. So I don't think there'll be that much line movement, I would assume. But they have him at 23.5 points, so it would be a big boost to his scoring potential because he already is a black hole shooting. So don't mind that. But yeah, that's all we got to work with. So wait and see. Keep us updated, chat, if we get that Zion news.
Yeah, and New Orleans is on the front end of a back-to-back. I'm just looking to see if
who they play tomorrow.
they play at home against Chicago, so that'll be a
Okay.
good
Well, they
game.
just played them recently. Okay, it's not too
Yeah,
bad. That's out of conference game too, so that they're gonna care more about this game anyway. So this game definitely has playoff Western Conference playoff written all over it. Because they have a high chance of meeting in the playoffs. So
it's 2 good teams. Yeah, a lot of talent.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of potential playoff previews, let's move to the next game, which has very high chance of also being a preview, which we've always seen these teams in the playoffs, and we've seen them kind of build a feud with each other, especially between Luka and Marcus Morris, which is what we had on the cover today. Yeah, there's multiple clips in that series. I think it was the bubble series. They played in the bubble. Huge feud between Luka and Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris tried to take his shoe off and hurt his already injured ankle, then was hacking him, hitting him on the head. Just dirty Morris brothers type of things. Typical. So Luka will probably come in here. It's in Dallas, so maybe a little bit less some hatred or negative energy, but I mean, he's going to play with some passion probably against the team he doesn't really like, and especially against Marcus Morris, who probably is going to spend majority of his time guarding him. That's what he historically has done, shadowed him and guarded him the most on the Clippers. So let's start with the visiting team in the Clippers. This is a 7-point spread, which is really kind of surprising. I mean, Clippers, I feel like they hold their own, but yeah, Vegas thinks Dallas is going to walk away with this. Very low total, which is very typical of a Dallas Mavs game, 212, because Mavs continue to run the slowest pace in the league. So besides the taco at 19.5 points for Paul George, what stood out to you for the Clippers?
Yeah, I've definitely got some interest in Morris today. He, as you mentioned, him and Luca and this kind of ongoing whatever narrative,
Uh-huh.
he's he's been able to match that, kind of just 3-point energy, momentum, get up for this game kind of atmosphere. And going back to last year, if you look at I believe 3 games that they played. So Luca played in 3 out of the 4 games that they had, and I believe Morris, he played the same games that Luca did. But both of them just phenomenal real point number, a lot of rebounding. And for Morris, he doesn't get that many assists, and I believe John Wall is expected to be back today,
Okay, that's
correct?
big. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, or at least last night when I was looking at, he was expected to be back. So that's definitely going to cut down on his assist rating, but that's going to boost his potential, scoring. And we were kind of on his rebounding prop last night, and I think that just the game blowing out kind of, it happens, and then being on the front end of a back to back, it is what it is. So I wouldn't consider really just his rebounding prop again, but his real points and especially his first half points. He's taken a lot of shots in that first half. And typically, whenever Wall is back, we will see that Reggie Jackson, he actually takes a step back in this matchup
Yeah,
or in this situation.
yeah.
And Zubac kind of takes a step up here. So they have Zubac's props a little too juiced for me today, and they're kind of right on the line where I really don't want to take any of the unders. But
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
a lot of interest in Morris. Um,
What about so you somewhat liked his rebound a little bit, but and you like his scoring potential, and you said he doesn't get assists much. What about his PR at 18.5? It's 19.5 on underdog, but do you like
y-
that, or are you gonna split up the exposure?
yeah, I actually definitely have some interest in that because if these teams are just going to be banging threes left and right, then there's going to be a ton of rebounds to go, and if he's going to be just trying to match that energy with Luca, I can see one, Paul George maybe taking somewhat of, I wouldn't say the night off, but taking a little bit of that energy off of trying to get all these rebounds and just focus more on defense and scoring. Whereas Morris and Zubac can really work the boards here and set up their own plays and work that pick and roll that they've been doing.
Okay, makes sense. His rebound prop, we don't have it on Price Picks, but it's on underdog at 5. So the 18.5 is a more straight even addition here to his 13.5 points. But underdog, they're taxing his PR by 1 at 19.5. But again, they have his rebound at 5. You brought up a good point about Reggie. It's something I've noticed whenever John Wall is slated to play, Reggie's production goes way down. And then especially when John Wall catches fire, Tyler loves to just ride John till the end and just like really increase his minutes. And that really makes it favorable to go under on Reggie props. Do you have any interest on under Reggie's PRA or even as just straight up points? I know his assist potential goes way down when John Wall plays. So
Yeah, probably. Um, that's kind of a tough call. Either his PA or PRA, just so he couldn't fall into any kind of stocks here and expect him to have a low scoring game.
yeah, yeah.
And we've also seen some of these bench players too kind of step in from the shadows. Trey Mann making an emergence, over
Uh-huh.
these last couple
Mhm.
games.
Yep.
So there's definitely some risk that he could also start cutting into some of his minutes or um,
Luke Kennard.
that was who I was looking for, Kennard. If he gets hot from the bench and starts hitting a bunch of threes, coach will let him have a longer release there
Yep.
on.
Yeah, Ty has always played the hot hand. I did notice though that like when John Wall doesn't play, I'm pretty sure that Kennard starts. Or no, Kennard starts when John Wall does play, but then when John Wall doesn't play, is it that Man will sometimes start? Okay. No, it's just been random. Okay, some games I
Yeah.
notice some games it's Man that gets to start, and other games it's been Luke Kennard. But as of late, he's just been riding Luke with or without John Wall. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't mind the Reggie unders. as long as John Wall's there's no restriction. He's at to play his normal role off the bench. And then I mean that's it for Prize Picks. Right now we just have Marcus Morris, Reggie, and Zubac and Paul George. But over on Underdog, they have some bench pieces if you want them in normal PAL and John Wall, who we just spoke of, who is assist potential is always live when he's playing, but the pace is something you got to be worried about. Again, Matt's running the slowest pace and that low total at 212. But when he does play, he racks up the assists. So 4.5, it could be doable. But yeah, you're playing with fire with the bench player and a low total and slow pace. So do you have any leans on Powell or Wall, or want to move on to the Mavs?
Yeah, and on Underdog, at least right now, the 4.5 assists, anytime it's under 5, that's going to be live for sure. And we got to remember he should be, assuming he's playing, he's going to be the most rested player on the team. They just played last night, so unless he just plays like total crap and coach is like, get out of here,
Right.
he should get a fairly decent run here.
Yeah. I mean, at least 25 minutes, you'd think, and then if not more, if he's playing well. So
Yeah. So either that, and even though it is a little taxed, there's some wiggle room for, I think, for his PA still.
yeah, I mean, his scoring potential is live too, for sure. Yep. Okay. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention on Underdog that was not on Prize Picks yet, and Underdog, for those who play on both sides or maybe just started to use Underdog, they just now started doing free throw props, something they've not done in the past season and early this season, but they just started doing it in the last few games. They had Ja at 6.5 free throws. That's anytime he's less than 7, that's definitely live because of the type of player he is, who's going to drive to the basket relentlessly, and especially with Bane out, even more shot volume, and more shot volume is going to be equals more free throw attempts for Ja. So that's pretty low. He normally sits at 7.5 on Prize Picks. Just keep an eye out what Prize Picks opens them at. If but you never know. We sometimes some slates we have not been getting free throw props. So
Yeah.
on Prize Picks, so that's kind of nice. That's a little bit of nice value there, in my opinion. But let's see who the refs are. I'll look into that after the stream. I want to see who they are and traditionally how they call the games for the home team versus Memphis. Okay.
On that real fast, I feel like
Yeah.
they've been calling stuff like crazy lately. Am I crazy in feeling that?
It's foul happy lately, right? Every game.
Yeah, like
It's
every
so
game,
funny.
man. I feel like we're just every minute. It's like, oh, he's
Yeah.
somebody else is at the free throw line.
You gotta look. I have a link in our premium Discord where it shows like stats for each ref and how they call the game for at home team versus a lot of different stats and how they call their calls. It might just be the particular refs that we've been noticing that have been slated on the games we've been watching and noticing that. But yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it's just the combination of the players also being lazy, playing lazy defense. Speaking of free throws, yeah, moving on to Dallas, the home team. They got Luka at 7.5. He's been at what 9, sitting around 9 on Prize Picks for like the last week. I feel like. I feel like now they got him appropriately priced at 7.5 on at least on Underdog. Let's see if Prize Picks adjust appropriately. But yeah, let's go ahead and start with Luka. One thing that stood out to me for value, just because his props are always so juiced, but I mean he still gets it done, is probably his 3-point prop. I mean he's gonna take probably 10 threes in this game. You gotta imagine. But he can't be streaky with his 3-point shooting. He could be a really bad 3-point shooter at times, or he could just drain them easily. What's your thoughts on his 3-point prop versus his just straight up point scoring potential, and then any other props that you might have interest in?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same, about his 3-point. I think it's a low enough bar because we really don't see him at 2.5 that often,
Right.
and they're at home, so
Yep.
there's a lot of stars aligning here. But he could also just have one of those nights where maybe Morris plays a lot more press and he meets him out way beyond the arc, so he's
Yeah.
not being able to run and set up for
Right.
these.
Right.
So in that situation, we're just banking on Luka to turn up and be able to find his sweet spot in the pick and rolls, and
Yeah.
that's going to put a lot more, I think, risk on just Luka doing Luka things and probably just driving and hitting shots here and there. So I'll probably have a fair amount of exposure to both. I really like the points. Just he's crushed this line every game at home so far this season. Outside of Curry on the back-to-back last night, these two have had basically identical stats. They're just over 30 plus, and for him, he's over 30, 33, I believe, in every home game. So he's just massive volume, massive. Like, this team is going to fall apart if anything happens to Luka.
Yeah. Hey, same with Warriors too, man. We need Steph more than ever. So you're right about that comparison. Yeah. I will say if I have to go back and look and how Ty Lue handles Luca, but even if they do trap him, a lot of times the kid will just take Luca and move him out on the wing and take him off ball and have someone else dribbled up like it was Dinwiddie, and then that allows Luca to get open from the wing, and they can't trap him at the top of the key, like you're saying, very high up. So there's multiple ways they get it done for him scoring, but yeah, if it's probably a safer route just to go with his points and not rely on one particular thing for him, especially with the 3-point shooting, because he can go cold. We've seen it, and when he does, he'll just attack it. He'll attack the basket all night like Ja. So, his assists at home definitely always a consideration because those guys shoot better. We know that from the playoffs last year. All those home games, that reverse home road split was like crazy. It was how much better those guys shot at home, and particular Dorian Finney and even Powell and others, and Reggie not so much this year. He's not really shooting, but I saw is Bertans slated to make his return today, or is he still out? Let me see what this says. Okay, he's still out. I think he's close. Okay, and Reggie is game time decision. So that's interesting. Okay, so that means we will probably have more of maybe Christian Wood gets even more run here, or just more THJ. Probably just more THJ.
Yeah, he's been getting in there, facilitating, being able to play defense, and I mean, honestly, that's basically all Bullock's been doing.
Yeah, well, THJ is a much better shooter than Reggie, so that would be a boost if THJ gets the start here over Reggie if Reggie's out hurt. That would be a little more time of THJ playing alongside Luka, so it'll be a boost to Luka's assist potential.
Now, I am curious to see if they are, going to go with that, because he's actually had a pretty hefty workload with the second unit.
Yeah.
And that small duration that him and Dinwiddie stay on the floor together. And then when Dinwiddie checks out and they basically just have like Woods and him are running the offense. So he's definitely a good piece. I'm really curious actually if they're going to go with him, or if maybe we could even see Kleber get a start here too.
Yep. Yeah, they've been carouseling that front court for sure. Speaking of Dinwiddie, been very productive as of late. What's your feelings on him? They juice his assists up for 4.5 to 5 on Prize Picks. Do you have any leans, like his rebound plus assists, his 3-point prop, his point prop?
Yeah, I definitely want still some exposure to him, just because, I mean, this team is literally on the shoulders of Luka and Dinwiddie, and then everyone else just get out of the way and give me the ball. And so his production has just been insane this year, and I think this is kind of what we were hoping that he would be last year for the team. And with the whole Porzingis transition, now with current offense, he looks fantastic. He's been doing a fair amount of rebounding. I don't want to rely too much on that. That 5 greens look pretty good here, but the Clippers do shoot a fair amount of 3 points, and so does Dallas. So I have maybe a little bit of interest in that, but his assist potential is just insane with him and Luka, and being able to run the second unit, as I mentioned. I think now with the assist bump, probably got to go with the RA at the 8.5 since we're getting at it pretty even. Earlier, I made a card for everybody, or when we were talking about it when they opened his assist at 4.5. Love that. He's been crushing that all season. So hopefully you got on that early.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the RA gives you a little bit of wiggle room, escape route too, in case he just pushes that at that 5. Yeah, you get hope that he could get snag 4 boards here and get you over that 8.5. Yeah, I agree that especially if Reggie's out and he's gonna have TJ starting out there with them, that adds a much better shooter for his assist potential, like I mentioned with Luka as well. So don't mind that. And I think the Clippers have also been struggling against the 2 guards. So yeah, some potential here for Dinwiddie again. It's always hard for me to trust Dinwiddie.
Yeah. And if you want, his stock potential too, just grab his fantasy. It's still, they really haven't adjusted him at all. They're still kind of basing a lot of their info off of last season. And with him starting now, this is a totally different game.
Yep. Okay. Anything for Finney or move on?
No, dude, I don't even add him to my sheets anymore. Like,
Unless it's maybe you can maybe consider unders with them sometimes.
yeah.
9.5 points, but with Reggie being out, it kind of makes me a little bit nervous. I mean, but even Reggie's like only counts for like 3 shots, so I don't know. But yeah, he's like consistently going under this 9.5 points. But he is at home. Like I said, he does shoot a lot better at home. They have, in case you're interested on underdog, they do have Christian Wood. I think he could play a little bit bigger role here. He just came back recently from being out for extended time. He was very productive offensively, put up 19 points, but it was against Portland. So take that with a grain of salt because of their defense. But he went back to playing his normal minutes, 25 minutes off the bench here. They got him at 14.5 points, which is pretty reasonable, decent price here. And his rebounds are pretty low too at 7.5. But yeah, not the best matchup and game environment, but decent value out there. All right, moving on. Let's catch up with chat real quick. Let's see if they have anything else. Hey, what up, underrated? The Prince, our boy Tito. Hey, what up, Jay Smooth? We back. Hey, yeah, it took us a while, but we're here. It's good to be back. Coach DFS lit intro. Yeah, underrated. Intro is awesome, man. It's the best. Hey, what up, Jermaine? Hey, appreciate that. Hey, what up, J.R. Smith, bowl of soup? Bobby, thoughts on Barnes over 4.5 rebounds? We'll get to that late night hammer. Sorry, we're trying to get done in decent fashion. Hopefully, next 20 minutes or so. Give us enough time for the 7:30 lock. Hey, appreciate that, Lorenza. Yeah. Jason Baines out. Scoring's got to pick up from somewhere, no doubt. Hey, what up, City? Yeah. Barnes rebound's a good one. Yeah, people on the Barnes rebound. Olynyk is another good slept on rebounder, I feel. Kevin said he could really care less about scoring at this point in his career. Who are we talking about? Oh, Barnes? I assume. Oh, okay. Thanks, Tito. It looks like we got Pelican props now.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll circle back to that.
Oh wow. So yeah, 22.5 for Ingram. They're trying. Cool. And we got CJ at 4.5 rebounds as well. I feel like that will bump, but we'll see. Depends on what the public does with it. Yeah, I'll probably bump. Jeremy, probably not sick. I am starting to feel better, man. I'm finally almost fully recovered. Deal with I don't know, whatever RSV virus going around. It's nasty. But yeah, starting to feel better. Hey, what up, Sean? Hey, we got wow.
I was gonna say
we got the sex spot. We haven't had that in a long time. Anyone is new here, though. Sex spot's good luck.
Good luck. Stars are aligning.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, where did we leave off? Let's go.
You want to go back to New Orleans?
We could do that at the end if you want. We could just because maybe they'll trickle in more props, and maybe Zion news will come out by then.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
We got New York at Utah. It's the 9 p.m. Eastern. So all these are island games. So this starts 30 minutes after the Clippers game, Mavs game. 9 p.m. Eastern. Jazz are 4.5 point favorites. Can't believe I'm saying that. 232 implied total. I guess it makes sense because the Knicks just let OKC score 145 points in regulation. I don't know if that's a franchise record or not, but for New York defensively, but it was bad. 145 in regulation is just insane. Yeah, no major injury news here. Everything is pretty much the same. Only thing to watch out for is that the Knicks have been kind of had a carousel at the center position. They've been kind of rotating in Sims and Hartenstein at the starting center spot. So look out for that news if you're considering Hartenstein, which he usually is on underdog. He's not yet. They're probably holding out because they want to make sure if he's starting or not. But other than that, everything's normal. So take us away with the visiting team, Knicks. What you got?
Yeah. So just a cautionary, they are on the front end of a back-to-back here for the Knicks. They
It's out
travel.
of conference game.
Yeah, and they travel tomorrow to go play at Denver. So big transition tomorrow. I definitely have some interest here in the Knicks. You know, them on the road, and with it being at Utah. You know, Utah's been pretty scrappy this year so far, and
Yeah.
I'll say at least right now the books they still really like Randall, his assist or his rebound prop at 8.5. He's been doing quite a bit for this offense, and you know, I think for him, some of his rebounding has kind of plateaued around that 8.5, 9 marker, just because of, you know, as you mentioned, we've had various not only centers coming in playing, but some of these guards off the bench are, you know, putting up ridiculous rebounding games too.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of variance there for that, but they did bump his first half points. It opened at 10.5 again, and you know, it's like they keep throwing the hook out there, and just to see how many people will hurry up and bet on that real fast, and then they immediately bump it.
Yeah. So it's
So it's
11 and a half now.
yeah, it's back at 11.5, but he's been shooting so much in the first half, it's insane. And it's like they really put a lot of their team stock in him getting hot in the first half and then just being able to work the glass and facilitate a lot in the second half. So I don't really feel good about his just straight up points, but his PRA I think is definitely in play. He's been, you know, as you just saw, crushed that in the last 5 and Utah has been a little suspect on the glass. They've been good on defense, but they've had some cracks in their rebounding. And, you know, we saw, I think, AD the other night, he put up like 14 rebounds on them. So there's definitely a lot of potential there, but you do have his back-to-back wrists. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, at least, well, I guess both back-to-back games are out of conference, so they're not going to favor one end of the back-to-back more so. But yeah, it's always something to consider. What I'm gonna let you take it away in the Knicks. I tend to stay away from the Knicks, so take us over to Brunson. I believe his points assist was a popular talk in our community, but it was 24.5, and it looks like his bumped since then. Is that correct?
Oh, has it? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 24.5.
Yeah, it was 24.5. Because I had that highlighted, that and his assist prop. So did they leave? Yeah, his assist still at 6. Man, that's kind of a bummer.
Let's see what Underdog has him. 26.5.
Yeah. Yeah, a hard pass on that one. You could probably still consider it. You know, there's been a lot of missed potential, and his potential assists per game has been pretty insane. So if you feel good about it, I think he has enough upside for his real points and could get there with some assists but you kind of have to pick your battles on this one because that assist prop still being at 6, that's kind of sneaky.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but he's gonna. I mean, he definitely is getting it done scoring wise too. So totally don't mind the points either. Combined with the assist. But yeah, you always got to worry about RJ Barrett going black hole mode and others off the bench, like you mentioned, like quickly. Do you have any interest in Barrett props, or move on to Utah side?
His points and rebounds, I think, are always potentially in play, but he's one of the characters that I can never get right. He's
No.
always done me dirty.
Oh no, it's like, oh look, hit a 30-point game and then 4-point game against OKC. That's so typical, man. Yep.
Yeah, he let me down one time this year. It was in like some insane rebound matchup. I think his prop was like 5, and he ends up with like 3. Ton of foul trouble. Doesn't play
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Sounds like Nick's prop betting. Well, let's move to Utah. Lauri Markkanen is a fan favorite amongst a group in our community. He has won a lot of people money in our group, so rightfully so. Do you have any strong leans for him? I feel like his rebounding is always live, especially with his scoring in this matchup. Surprised his points has not moved actually, because the odds were really high on him. I think it was close to minus 150 at one point this morning. Do you like one over the other, or you're considering combining them?
Yeah, his points are always going to be in play. I think anytime under 20, and especially at home, he kind of gets up for those games. But this isn't an easy matchup by any means. I think it's a bit of a softer matchup since Mitch Rob's not going to be active this game, but you're not getting too much of an easier matchup against Randall and some of that. I think it for his props is going to depend what starting lineup does New York roll out. Like if they go small ball, I think that could be probably a good matchup for him because it'll probably just be a one-on-one with Randall there. But if they roll out, one of these key defenders off the bench in the starting unit to kind of try and help shut him down, we might end up seeing a lot of double teams on him too, and just kind of take away that part of the offense. We know Randall takes a ton of 3-pointers, so if they're going to use that as a way to pull Lauri out, he could be really, really limited on some of his rebounding chances here. And this cat and mouse game that we're going to have to play with the starting lineup, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, with how bad the Knicks defense overall has been playing, I feel like you could consider the scoring options on Jazz for both Markkanen and on Clarkson. Clarkson is still at his normal 18.5. He's either living right at that or getting just barely over it. So, but he's another first half hero, where he gets it done early and quickly in the first quarter. So, is his first half prop still at 9.5 points?
That I actually haven't looked at yet.
Let's take a look.
I would imagine because they've pretty much left this team.
Okay. Yeah.
Most of their props were the same. Yeah.
There you go. He missed in the Philly game because he missed some key shots, and then Sexton had like a weird spike first half, unnormal like him. I think Sexton had 9 or 10 points in the first half, which is not typical. Sexton usually gets most of his productivity in the second half when he does. So usually the first half is Clarkson's time to shine the most. So, but like any shooter, he can get cold and he can miss his shots like in this Philly game. So it's not as clear cut. You're running some risks there, but just want to bring that up in case you don't want to go with the full game 18.5 because he can just hook that at times. But yeah, any other Utah props? I know some of our community members brought up Olynyk's potential here. 5 rebounds. His rebound has kind of been all over the place. It seems like it's between him and Markkanen, they switch off on nights. Like if
Yeah.
Olynyk has a spike night, Markkanen's rebound potential goes down. So I haven't figured out the puzzle to that or the pattern. But if you have any feel on it, let us know.
Yeah, I think it's not bad just with Mitch Rob being out and he'll be playing every minute, that these other guys aren't on the floor. And more than likely he'll get a good healthy run with Randall off the floor as well. So um yeah, the Knicks are so bad on defense and actually was just thinking about they've been fouling a ton lately, especially in the first
They're
half.
top 3 and free throw attempts allowed. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know if did we get Lori free throw props again or no? This is probably the one time I
Well,
didn't get
what
it.
was it? What was it? Last slate. Oh
I
wow, we
think it
did
was 4.5.
3.5 on underdog. Seems like great value. It just needs probably 3 trips to the line.
Yeah, and he's been really aggressive at home too, and we've seen
I
that
like
against
that.
some of these.
I like that call. I'm glad you brought that up, and I would have completely overlooked that on underdog.
Yeah, so honestly, I like just his straight up points even more now. I totally forgot about that, and the way he's just been so much more aggressive at home against this defense. Especially that prop, man. Oh, that that's crazy. It's 3.5.
He's not a terrible free throw shooter either, so he could get it
Yes,
done in 2 trips.
exactly.
Yeah, 19.5. I probably would take that one the most for him. It's at 20.5 on underdog. Yeah, just with this Knicks defense lately and being in Utah, like you said, yeah, I can get behind that. Let's look out for a free throw prop for him on Price Picks. I imagine Price Picks probably their free throw props tend to be higher than underdog, which is kind of interesting. Interesting because underdogs usually it's the reverse. Underdog props tend to be
Yeah.
higher. But yeah, I mean, it's probably gonna be that 4.5. But if it's at 3.5, like underdog, I definitely like the value on that with how much, like you brought up, the Knicks are fouling. Yeah, they're top 3, right behind the Warriors, I believe. So, okay. Anything for Vanderbilt, or we move on? Or Conley too, I guess. His assists should be talked about. I mean, he's been racking up the assists, but it's all up to 7.5 now, and I believe it's at 8 on underdog now. It got
Yeah,
juiced.
he was at 6 last game, so we're definitely getting a hefty juice here. It's in play, but you need 4 full quarters because last game he definitely gave us the sweats. He got 3 in the first I think 5 minutes, and then didn't get another one until I think the start of the third quarter. So there's a little bit of we need a full game here. It's in his realm of potential, but it's getting to that risk line.
Yeah. I agree. And then on underdog, you have pretty much every key bench player for Utah, including Sexton, Beasley, and THT. So if you're scrambling for picks and looking for that last piece to fill in, definitely more options here on underdog to build a full complete 5-pick card. Okay. Let's move on to and Rudy Gay is out. I think he was out last game. I can't remember. Let's move to the one of the 2 late night hammers. 2 games start at 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll start with the Spurs at Portland. Spurs just played last night against the Warriors in here in the Bay and got destroyed. They shot awful from 3. Which has kind of been unlike them because this season they've been actually shooting really well from 3, but it was just an off night. And they have a horrible road trip ahead of them this week. They had the Warriors last night. They have Portland tonight. Then they have the Kings on Thursday, who the Kings are probably one of the surprise teams of the season on how much they improved under Mike Brown, which we'll get to. So Kings on Thursday, and then they have the Lakers on Saturday and the Clippers on Sunday. So they get a game pretty much almost every day, and against pretty solid teams. I mean, Lakers, they're 3-10, but they can still play well when LeBron and AD are out there together. So yeah, they have a long stretch ahead of them. So you got to imagine Pop is going to play it safe in terms of minutes, but they only have like 11 healthy guys active to play, really, or 10, sorry. And they were talking about that last night. So, as a result, yeah, when that game got out of hand, Pop pretty much pulled the starters right away and didn't mess around. The spread is 8 here. It's kind of scary. I think the Warriors were also 8-point favorites last night. We don't have news on Trey Jones yet, I believe. That'd be key. He sat out last night. I don't know if that. I assumed he sat out because he was going to play tonight with whatever he's dealing with, but maybe it's serious enough where he sits out both nights. But let's definitely keep out for that news because it will have an effect on ball handling. You saw last night, Vassell was handling the ball way more so as a traditional point guard with Trey Jones out. Yeah. I think a lot depends on that news, and then we're also waiting on Nurk news on the other side. So 2 key pieces of news that we, since it's so late in the night, I don't know if we'll get it before main slate locks. But
I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, let's. Do we even have props for Spurs on?
They just started going up, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so one thing I noticed last night watching the Warriors game, Sohan, the rookie, he Pop was like kind of using these games as like a teaching lesson for him, and kind of like every time he'd mess up, he'd bring him on the sideline and kind of give him. I saw him kind of give him instructions and like a learning lesson. I think on this road stretch, he's gonna ride the rookie a lot here and want him to be more involved. So especially if Trey Jones is out, I don't mind his scoring or rebound potential here. They were giving him a lot of deferred rebounds, and he was really involved on the glass. What did he finish with? 7 rebounds.
Yeah, 2 games now.
Yeah, and he was really trying. Maybe with that Dennis Rodman inspiration colored hair. And
Coach loves him.
And his scoring potential, especially with Trey out, he was doing way more ball handling, it seemed like last night. I don't, small sample size we're working with, could just be a fluke trend, or it could just be a trend going forward, especially on this road trip. Although I tend to like rookies and role players more so when they play at home. Yeah, they need them, especially if Trey's out, because like I said, they just don't have that many healthy, active bodies to go with. And these are pretty low lines relative to Keldon's lines and Vassell and Pirtles. Do you have any leans so far? What's going on the board? I know you haven't had time to look at it. Oh, interesting. So we get Keldon assist props. We didn't get that yesterday, but he was just looking to chuck it from 3 last night. But we know he can have assists by games when Trey's not on the court. I guess we don't have anything for Vassell yet. Vassell, I liked his 7.5 RA. He was on pace to crush that until the blowout happened. So yeah.
Yeah, there's some interesting props here. I love that you brought up about Jeremy there. Pop has a lot of interest in this kid, and we've seen that he's got a lot of potential. He's one of those players that's very, very aggressive. He's been drawing some foul trouble. We've seen that. But also with that, Pop left him out there. Like I think he had 3 fouls in the first half, and he stayed out there, no problem. And I feel like one of the probably blowout proof pieces that's on the board here. And that 4.5 rebounds, just, screaming at me, man. If he's getting any kind of decent minutes here, and obviously that'll be a little contingent on if Trey plays, but we could also just see Bates Diop just completely disappear out of the rotation here, and Jeremy can just absorb all those minutes.
Yeah. You see, last night Jeremy actually played a decent stint with the cleanup crew in the fourth quarter, while the starters did not touch the court in the fourth. And he brought up a good point about his early fouls. He did lose some minutes in that first quarter. He had 2 early fouls, and as a result, he got pulled right away. So he lost out on key minutes. If he doesn't lose out on those minutes, he would have played close to 30 minutes. And with his blowout run minutes with the cleanup crew. So
yeah, I don't want to, I'm not screaming for money bags here, but this is definitely a really good spot, and both of these teams take a ton of threes, so he could just fall into 2 rebounds and then get 2-3 off the glass there. he's been very aggressive on the offensive rebounds. That's unfortunately led to some of the fouls, but he's also been able to get about 2 to 3 offensive rebounds a game when he's getting this longer leash here.
Yep. They need him. And then I guess Keldon, if Trey's out, his PRA is probably always live. It's Portland's defense, so it's nothing to be scared of. Let's let the props drop in. Okay. That's not bad.
Interesting.
Yeah. We're getting a 0.5 discount on his PR. Because if you add it, it should be 14. It's 13.5. If you can't decide between the two, I don't mind it. But remember, it's a bench. It's not a bench. He starts, but it's a rookie on the road on a back-to-back. So I'm not advocating like smash and making a core play, but we're grasping for things here on a small slate with not that many props yet available. And then I guess what assist line are you looking for Vassell if we don't get it before we get off here shortly? Would it be the 3.5? Would you consider?
So one thing I actually meant to mention in the Discord and just kind of really watching this game, his potential assist rating takes such a massive hit with Richardson coming off the bench. He is just absorbing so much of his assists right there. I think that there's a lot more risk, and I'm actually kind of surprised to see he only had 1 assist in the entire game last night against the Warriors, and even the potential assist was surprisingly low. One thing with this team is with a lot of these guys being injured and out, there's a lot of selfish ball players on this team. There's a lot of, I don't need anybody else to make this play. I'm just going to run up, do my thing, and chuck it. And we see that, namely with Keldon, he's been doing that a lot. He'll just run up, dribble the ball up, and just shoot it. Nothing else happens, and then they go back on defense. So I don't know. Vassell, he was getting a lot of rebounds. I think rebounds have definitely been consistent. And
because the Warriors shoot a lot of threes too, right? So he was snagging those long rebounds.
Yeah, and we're basically back in the same spot here. But man, he gave up last night. You talk about somebody who just checked out. I mean, before they were even at half, he was done.
Yeah, he was. He didn't care. He didn't care at all. Hey, did some news drop because they're removing the Pelicans off the board?
Zion is out. Yeah, just dropped.
Okay, well, at least we talked about that. Thanks to chat, appreciate it. At least we talked about that game as if they're out. Well, I hope you guys got some CJ. I wish I didn't have time because we're streaming right now. Some CJ 4.5 rebound or his 10.5 RA have been a really nice prop with Zion out. But yeah, that means okay. Well, that means no more J-Val under PRA, which has been a gold mine for us. Because J-Val has been basically playing about 22 minutes a game with Zion being back. Because what would happen is that they like to run Zion out there in the 4/5 hybrid spot, kind of like a roamer with Larry Nance to close. But now with Zion out, J-Val's probably going to be back to playing 30 minutes. So. And then Larry Nance will probably play a lot of minutes alongside him that pick up absorb some of the Zion minutes. So, yeah, I wanted to make that point because that's been a very fruitful prop for us to start the season. That's unfortunate. It's kind of hoping he was going to play because of that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to the Blazers because we should probably get to cooking up some cards for the fam and rankings, but Blazers again, we're waiting on Nurk news. We're probably not going to get that till lock, but we kind of go on the assumption that he's not going to play because he's been out pretty much the last 3 or 4 games. So if he's out, can we go back to Grant? And his point prop really hasn't moved, but his productivity is pretty much maintained even with Dame being back. He's crushing it. and this is a very favorable spot against one of the worst defenses in the league in the Spurs. So bottom 3 in defensive rating. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think, especially if Nurk is out, I like him already, but if Nurk is out, most definitely either his points or his PRA or fantasy. Honestly, I mean, he's just been doing so much for this team and really stepped it up on defense. I noticed that last game he had a handful of stocks, and not only, it's not going to transition to paper, but just watching the game, he was able to really limit the production on some of the people that he was covering whenever they would transition back into offense. So that was really good to see. And that's kind of one thing I think with him, he's a motivational player. We see that, you brought up with Ingram earlier. Right now, he's just going through that slump.
Yep.
And right now for Grant, man, he's just on this heater, and not only with how efficient he's scoring, but just his shot volume. Like, this team is putting up so many shots right now between him, Simons, and Dame. And we've seen some of that kind of reflect off of these other pieces too. Like Josh Hart, he's putting up like what, 4 or 5 shots in it, like an
Yeah.
entire game.
Yeah. So what?
So
Speaking of him, are you gonna go under, or are you too nervous with this matchup being the Spurs, and how soft they are defensively if Nurk is out, or are you hoping he just continues that low shot volume?
yeah, I think honestly we could still go back to his here. I feel a little bit better, I think, about his full game prop just because they could come out, smoke them early,
Yeah.
and Pop waves a white flag.
Yeah.
The bench pieces come in, and with them playing again tomorrow, they're definitely going to pull their starters. So this game's kind of setting up to maybe look kind of how it did last night against the Warriors. So at least if you're going to pick between his first half and full game prop, if he's going to get hot, he's probably going to kill that first half prop anyways. So just hope that the game blows out and that everyone else is shooting, as it's kind of shown whenever Dame's back in the starting unit. He takes a huge backseat. Like, it's in the third, fourth row. It's in the trunk almost.
I mean, hey, I don't hate the pairing of his under and Grant's over. So
Yeah. And especially for Grant, I love his first half, man. His first half PRA is getting zero respect, and he's just been destroying that.
let's see what it's at. 13.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just 20 plus in all those. And even the one game against Phoenix, that's obviously a tougher matchup, but whew, you couldn't ask
Yeah.
for good.
Yeah, no, that is a sharp call just due to like pure blowout risk too. And if Nurk is out, I mean that's a huge boost to that prop as well because he's gonna rack up potential rebounds here too. So, yeah, I would feel really good about that if Nurk's out and we're worried about blowout. So, and then
Yeah.
obviously just play his full game points as a hedge or just like a additional bet to cover the game scripts.
Yeah. What do they have his fantasy at? Actually, I'm gonna go back and look at that. If it's not too taxed, there's probably enough stock potential here.
Two.
Okay, yeah. He's been having a few turnovers with kind of facilitating back and forth because
Yeah.
he passes to Dame. So if Dame's making it, usually now it's him that's kicking it out to him. So both of those lines, though, feel really good. I love his props today, especially if Nurk's out.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we gotta hurry along here. Try to get done within the next 10 minutes. Give ourselves at least 30 minutes before our lock. Any other Blazers that stood out to you? Assuming that Nurk is out.
Yeah, Dame, his points assists, I think, is always going to be live. I mean, he can get really, really hot and kind of cool down a little bit in that second and third quarter, but he's been looking really good so far. He's just going through that hot streak right now, so let's keep going.
All righty. Let's see. Are we getting taxed on Underdog for that? I know. Pelicans are gone. the only thing about underdog. You gotta scroll through like a whole magazine to get to where you want to be. Okay, yeah, it's 33.5 on underdog. No surprise, they're always a little bit higher. Anything for Simons, or we move on to the last game?
Yeah, we can move on.
Alrighty, we got Brooklyn at the Kings. Brooklyn was playing really well as of late, until they went in and they lost to. They ended up losing that game, right? I know they were trailing that whole game against the Lakers. And then AD put up like 38 points or something like that.
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah, but Claxton got injured in that game, left early with the eye injury. He is back. He's going to play. Sumner is starting to pick up more minutes and show signs of like being more conditioned and aggressive, attacking the basket. Joe Harris as well is starting to get more conditioned and more minutes. And Royce is doing his usual role, kind of playing that Bruce Brown role. And KD is basically trying to do it all for the team. And then the Kings, like I said, have probably been one of the more surprising teams of the season. To me, it's no surprise because Mike Brown, I think, is a phenomenal coach. Obviously, we had him here on the Warriors coaching staff for a long time during this championships run. So, yeah, he's just a great defensive-minded coach, and he's really got these guys working together, playing defense, and playing great offense too, and believing in each other. I mean, Fox is. He's really grooming him to probably be the best form of himself. So happy to see that. I like Fox. I like Mike Brown. And Sabonis, you know, we always knew he had the potential, and he's starting to really play up to his potential. So it should be a great game. The Kings are only 1.5 point favorites, and it's a 226 total. So it's a really healthy game lines here, Vegas game lines. So if it lives up to that hype, I think we're in for a great late night treat here. Let's start with Brooklyn. Obviously, everything starts and stops with KD, and this is a great matchup for him. Yeah, like I said, the Kings are, buying into Mike Brown's defensive schemes, but they still have plenty of holes because they have got rooks out there like Keegan Murray, who struggle at times defensively, and then Harrison Barnes at his age is not the same defender that he once was, and Herter, he could struggle on the defensive perimeter. So there's definitely some holes with Kings defense, and KD could have his way here. But one thing I wanted to point out is like what I noticed in that especially in the Lakers game, when they deal with like an athletic big who could score with like AD, and that's what they're gonna have to deal with Sabonis here, because they're gonna have to put a lot of attention on Sabonis because the Nets are allowing the most points in the paint so far this season. And what I noticed in that Lakers game is KD is basically playing the roamer spot, and he would have to play help defense and live down in that low post to help out Claxton when Claxton would guard AD when AD had the ball in his hand, when the AD was backing it down with his back to the basket in the low post. And what that does is it increases the rebound potential for KD, because essentially what happens is like the center, whoever Claxton's on, will shoot it, and Claxton's backs the basket, and KD will already be in that low post ready for the rebound. So there could be a lot of rebound potential here for KD. It's at 6.5. Just wanted to bring that up. I think that's a decent line for him here. But obviously we're going to have the Taco. So the scoring potential is definitely live, especially with the Taco being at 25.5. So you're probably going to go with that, obviously. And I totally understand. But just wanted to bring up the rebound potential here. I know Tito liked it as well. And then Claxton, yeah, if he could stay out of foul trouble, it's a good spot. But I just worry about the foul trouble here. Sabonis is a foul magnet, so he could definitely get into some early foul trouble in this matchup. Do you have any Brooklyn leans?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. That's to say the least. I have interest in Claxton. Just he gets up for some of these, pace up matchups here. And even though Brooklyn as a whole has been kind of sus on, especially on defense, if he stays on the floor, we saw even this last game, he was on pace to smash his first half props and looked pretty good for his full game props as well. But there is, some some risk that he could re-irritate that eye injury because we saw, this last game, he had the eye poke, went out, and then he came back and he actually tried to play through it. And I don't know if was he wearing a mask when he came back out?
No, I think he had contact issues, from what I remember hearing.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, it was something kind of minute, but it still affected him that game. If he stays on the floor, he's just been very productive, and
Is Ben
I don't
Simmons
mind it.
is Ben Simmons playing? Because I know Ben. It's been brought up before that when Ben Simmons plays, he's been kind of the direct backup to Clarkson, and I don't know if that's actually affected the minutes. I need to go back and look the minutes of Clarkson overall, but
I think I saw that he would be playing, but aren't they bringing him off the bench now?
yeah, and he checks in for Clarkson a lot of times, and will play the five.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Um,
we
yeah.
need to check in the minutes if it's actually affecting his minutes, or is it just like his direct backup and he still plays normal minutes.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I mean, Claxton's going to be needed here because it's Sabonis, and Sabonis would just have his way with Ben.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben would probably be foul out in like 2 quarters.
Yeah, and
Sabonis.
honestly, that could work out even better for us if Ben picks up 2 quick fouls here. They'll shorten Claxton's, rest time, and they'll bring in one of those pieces, third stringers, or just a filler piece for a few minutes, and they'll probably draw a foul, and then coach will get upset about it and be like, "All right, get back out there."
Yeah. Yeah, and then yeah, both getting foul trouble. It's more minutes at the 5 for KD. Okay, well, yeah, I guess the taco is obviously gonna be a popular play for KD, and then you brought up Claxton, and then all else is left is Harris and O'Neal, who always a nervous click. I will say that Cam Thomas has been playing really great off the bench. We probably won't get him on Prize Picks because we haven't been getting bench players really, but I could easily see us getting props for him on Underdog. Keep an eye out for him. He's been shooting really well, and he's a hooper. Like he can get it done. He's a bucket getter, so I would look out for his scoring potential on Underdog for sure.
Yeah, man, I would love some summer props. I would love to get those. He's been so efficient in the first quarter. Just, I mean, I think,
He's hustling. He's hustling.
yeah, he's getting a stock and a handful of points and rebounds.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, maybe we'll get it.
I think he will on Underdog. He's usually on there. Okay, let's move to the last team of the slate, the Kings, the home team here. Sabonis, great spot here. Like I said, for all the reasons, the Nets giving up the most points in the paint, and this is not like a recent thing. This has been all season. Do we like his scoring potential here, or do we like his rebound, or do you want to throw everything together and bunch it together into a package deal?
He honestly have fair exposure, just kind of various different props here. I like his points. He's been shooting a ton, and soft matchup here. He could get a ton of trips to the line, so keep an eye out for a free throw prop if they do give us one for him. I like the rebound at 11.5. I think he was minus 135 on books, which I'm actually really surprised to see it hasn't moved up to 12 yet. So that could still be subject to change before locks. Even his PR, I think they had a slight tax on it earlier. Yeah. So I mean, there's a slight tax on it, but man, he's doing so much for this team right now, and even though some of these other pieces are helping out, they can definitely just be a ghost and shoulder the load basically on Sabonis and just Fox here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Do you have any leans?
I like potential for both here. For Sabonis, so I'm probably just gonna have exposure to both in separate cards between his points and rebound. It just scares me because like if Herter and Fox get hot, they could just dominate the shot volume and eat into Sabonis' scoring potential, which we've seen early on in the season when Sabonis really wasn't getting up that many shots. But you got to imagine that Sabonis is going to be a focal point of the offense in this matchup. So I think it makes total sense if you want to go Sabonis points and pair it with Fox's assist here. Although Fox is all the way up to 6 now, he's been around 5.5 for his assists. But if you want to go into that game script theory that they're going to try to feed Sabonis and Fox is going to drive and dish it, totally get it. So I think it's a strong pairing. I would probably do that, and then in separate card, just do Sabonis rebounds and maybe Fox scoring potential here. It's too bad his points are still not at 23.5. They opened him at 23.5, which is really low for him because he's been sitting at 25.5 all season. So do you what is your thoughts on Fox and these other guys, Kings guys?
Yeah, Fox looks, I mean, he's kind of back and forth on how much does he want to shoot the ball or how much does he just want to feed it and facilitate. So his straight up points, I don't think is quite a comfortable click yet, but his PA still, I think, has enough wiggle room. And if push comes to shove in this matchup and they start clamping down a little bit more, as you mentioned with that KD kind of shadow double team, they are going to need Fox to step it up here and really kind of help pick up the scoring. So I think for him, his best line's probably still his PA.
It's not.
I-
Was it on here? Because it's not here anymore.
oh no, am I crazy? I thought we had one. No, okay. I guess they just give us points for rebounds. Man, that's unfortunate. Well,
It's on
Brooklyn.
Underdog in case you're interested. It's at 30.5.
Okay, that's not too bad. Um, it's a soft enough matchup on the glass that you probably could consider his RA.
Yeah, I was looking at it
At
earlier
10 and a
this
half.
morning. Yeah. Because I mean, we've seen it. I mean, he can have spike rebound games, or he could just finish with 5 rebounds, around 5, and he could get the 6 assists, and it'll get you over that. But it'll push otherwise.
Yeah, his assist at 6, it feels kind of pushy. It's not bad, but also, Sabonis has also had a pretty decent assist rating here, and
Yeah.
he's been pretty steady in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Fox is. I mean, it's a great spot for him. I feel like. Okay. Any interest in Herter? He's been up and down, and which makes sense because he's a spot shooter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I have some interest in his 3-point prop, honestly. They've just kind of been leaving it at 2.5, and he's been hitting that for the most part. He's had at least, I believe, 2 threes made in every game so far. I think.
yeah, I mean that's all he's gonna do out there. It's just spot shoot
Yeah.
from 3.
Yeah. So, and we saw this last game. I wouldn't say he took a back seat, but he was kind of outshined a little bit by Keegan. And still, I mean, he put up basically his entire field goal attempts were almost all beyond the arc. So
Yeah.
that lines up at least really well with that prop line.
Yeah, it's a good point about Keegan. Him and Keegan definitely eats into his production, but and Keegan has already made it known that he much prefers to play at home and feels comfortable shooting the 3 ball at home. So, yeah, expect him to take quite a few threes tonight at home. But on the road, he has played really bad or shot really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, Harrison Barnes. I think the most popular thing for him, people in our group are talking about, is his rebound potential here. I see it. I'm biased because I'm a Warriors fan and have history with Harrison Barnes, so I tend to just fade him every.
Yeah. Oh, he's so dead
every
to
day.
me. He's another player I don't even add to my sheet.
Okay, we're on the same page.
Yeah, just infuriating to bet on because you don't know what you're going to get nightly. But it's a good spot, yeah. And I do like the prop in theory.
Yeah, in theory, that's a good way to put it. In theory, if you just covered up his face and his name, just saw the 4.5 rebound, sure, against the Nets. Okay. Well, let's do a quick team card and so we can get out of here. So because we got a lot to do before lock and catch up on news. You want to go first?
Yeah, let's go with Let's get it before it changes. I really liked Dinwiddie's rebounds assist. Exact same spot as Booker's last night.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Booker hooked his
Yep, the
his-
bumped assist line. Yep.
yeah. I really wanted McCollum's RA too, but that's gone. So let's go with oh wait, they're bringing him back. Oh, he's back.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. Or do I need a refresh?
Yeah, I see them now. They're coming back.
Okay, well, okay, his RA, so his rebound stayed the same, but his RA went up 1, which makes sense. I'll just stick with the rebound.
Rebound. Okay, I like that.
Yep.
Let's see.
We can even do 3 if people just want to combine this with the taco too.
Yeah, let's do one with the taco, at least while we have it still here
Yeah.
on the screen.
Oh, we have 9 minutes too, so perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just throw that in there so you get the last pick.
Let's see down. And let's run that back with man, I want to say Luca as well. Man, I'm really feeling Luca today.
Okay. All right. You want his points? That was your initial call, right?
Yeah, either him or Marketing. Those two are the fan favorites today. And I know C-Day, wherever she is in chat, I saw her earlier. Man, she's been touting for these two. So
what? Well, here let's throw if people are looking for a 5 pick flex. What was the marketing prop that was the fan favorite?
Probably his points, I think.
Was it straight up points? Okay.
Yeah, unless they give us a free throw prop.
Oh, right. Okay, there you go, guys.
Yeah.
And then on Underdog, I would say here, I'll take a screenshot of this. I would say we probably want Marketing's free throws instead of his points since we have that value. Probably throw that in with throw that in. You could throw that in with Morant's 6.5. Don't mind that. And do we have Pelicans props back? Am I going the right way? This is like a maze on Underdog.
You might have to search on the page. Might be easier.
I had to refresh.
It might still be down, honestly. And I will say, at least Price Picks, they've been kind of acting a lot faster about reposting the props after news.
That's interesting. Yeah, there's no CJ. Okay. All right. Well, we liked John Wall's 4.5 assists, which we didn't have on Price Picks, right?
Yeah, always going to be in play.
And then let's throw in since we didn't throw it in the other card. Want to throw in your favorite Randall prop?
Yeah, the first half points. Oh yeah.
Oh, we don't have it on here though.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, we need it. We should. Everyone should contact Underdog independently. I'm sure if enough people ask them, they would add the first half props because they added the free throw. So
yeah, a lot of these sites have really listened to. I know Underdog's been adding stuff, and Fliff, they've been working on adding new stuff as well. So
yep, can't hurt to hit them up. So then you don't like any of his full game? Sheesh. They have his PRA at 34.5, and isn't it 32.5 on Price Picks?
I believe so. 32 or 33.
32. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a big difference.
That 3-point prop at 2, that's not bad.
Okay.
I think this is a game that he'll probably get up for trying to shoot beyond and pull one of like Laurie or Olynyk out there.
Yeah. I was saying Underdog if you're kind of new to it, because I don't play on it that much either, but I'm trying to start. But 3 picks tend to be the little sweet spot there because it's 6x for 3 pick. So if you like any 3 of these 5, I would definitely try to go for a 3 pick instead of much harder to hit a 5 pick. And that way you just build up bankroll, and it's actually great value at 6x for 3 picks. So, okay, what's the schedule tomorrow? What are we looking like?
I think a big slate.
Okay, we'll talk it over. We'll see. Tacos locks in 5 minutes, so make sure you get that in if you interested. I think it's good value. I think Paul George has a very high chance to get over 19 points. So even though it's a low total. Okay, guys.
3 games tomorrow, actually. So very small.
Oh, 3.
slate.
Oh,
Yeah.
then perfect. Stream will be back tomorrow, and we can break it down, take our time. So,
Yes,
all
sir.
right, Eric. Fun times as always. I will catch you in voice chat.
Yep. See you guys there. Good luck.
All right, good luck, guys.
Puts up a tough shot. Bounces around. Goes in at the buzzer. Working it down to 2 on a deep 3. Oh!
It's population.
That's how you win a game.
It's population. We hustle every day to find picks. You can tell us if you want to get rich. It's population. We robbing underdog and prize picks. We the best in this biz. You ain't telling us shit. It's population. We love making money quick, fast. Cooking up a team card. The whole crew about to smash. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's catch. The dopest team you ever seen. Winning money, stacking G's. Bookies setting traps, but they'll never catch me. Some people get addicted like rats to the cheese, but I got one obligation to bring Johnny to his knees. Holding back the price till the morning he knows. They'll be fishing in the shack, plotting nukes with the pros. Only with crawl, never reload. Underrated them amigos. We go with honest, we seeking the bloods. We know when a fucking cheat code. Party that I'm sweating, they can't be good for my health. Some may call it making bets, I call it investing in myself. I'm picking props like stocks. Population for the win. Got my sips in by the buzzer now. Let the games begin.
Unbelievable. Just happened. He did it.
It's population. It's population. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's get